your ear goggles, bitches. It's time for some pop goulash. And today in the Hood Cave, I have some new friends that have found their way into the neighborhood, and I'm really stoked for our guests today. They are the proprietors of Dwight's Comics in Schaumberg, Illinois. And I know there's no S on it, stupid. I live here. But yeah, so I got Dwight and Chad and Sarah, and Dwight's lovely wife Cindy is in the background. You may hear her giggling or her cute little southern drawl kind of coming through in the background. But they have, how long have you had the store now? Like 3 months? 4 months?
March the 1st. So yeah, about 4 months now.
About 4 months now. So Dwight actually took over for my other favorite shop was Dreamland Comics, and Dwight purchased it lock, stock, and barrel. Sometimes you could say it was lock, stock, and two smoking barrels.
Like that's a good reference. I love that movie.
Oh, it's a great movie, man. But yeah, so Dwight bought the store turnkey, and he's running, man. Got a great selection of products and all kinds of stuff that suits your comic book needs. So why don't you say hello to the peoples?
Well, hello, everybody. This is exciting. I've only done one other podcast ever, and so I am what I guess people would refer to as a podcast virgin.
Or a novice. I wasn't the one that busted your cherry, so... So yeah, I'm really stoked to have you guys. I mean, I've had some great conversations with y'all in the store, and you know, it's one of those things that like... For somebody who is, you know, I've been reading comics for quite some time now, and I got some questions for you guys because I am reading some stuff and I'm like, what the hell is this all about?
Well, you've got questions and we've got answers.
I hope so. So, but I know that there is, you know, like the first time you walk into a comic book store and you're a novice, you've never read a comic before, or you used to when you were a kid, and you know, you grow up watching The Simpsons, and, you know, please do not bang your head on the counter, for it contains a rare copy of Mary Worth, where she advises a friend to commit suicide. Thank you.
Oh,
like, you
goodness.
Immediately think that you're going to walk in, and it's going to be comic book guy behind the counter judging you at every step that you take in the store. And I will tell you this, these guys sitting across the table from me are not those people. Like,
well, first of all, Chad is probably going to have some offense taken that we use a Simpsons reference as opposed to a what is the show that you love so much?
Oh no, I do not like that show.
Which one is it?
Are you
straight up into the mic,
Big
son.
Bang Theory.
Oh,
That's
God,
it.
no,
Yes, he.
I hate that show so much.
It's amazing now that since I've taken over the store, how many of my friends have come up and said, "Are you like those people in the Big Bang Theory?" I'm like, well, first of all, I've never seen the show.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with the reference, and no, we are not like that at all.
Yeah, not one bit.
Like straight up into it, like you're screaming berserker.
So like,
Okay.
don't Mark Bernard in this thing. Like, just
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly. I don't want to have to get you like the Janet Jackson control. You know, we don't need that kind of mic. Just straight up into it. I love that you got that you listen to the Fat Man of Batman.
We're
I
gonna
love
have a
it.
blast tonight.
So, but yeah, totally not those guys. And God, I hate that fucking show. I seriously,
it's terrible.
It's the worst. Like I've seen like a half. Have you ever gone on YouTube and seen it where they take the laugh track out?
No.
Oh, it's brutal.
Oh my!
It's like you could just Google or just go onto YouTube and just type in Big Bang Theory without the laugh track. It is just torturous to watch it. Hi, Ricky.
Oh, that's
Yeah, it's brutal. Like they tell a joke and you can kind of hear it a half-ass laugh in the background because you can't really mute it all the way out, and it's just like, oh, that passes a joke.
Yeah.
And then I realized it. It's on CBS. It's the channel for old white people.
Yeah, that explains it.
And they find it funny.
Oh, well.
So.
Yes, I think my son fell into love with the show, and so him and my wife would sit and watch episodes, and I could hear them giggling in another room, and I would go in and see what was funny. I'd stand for a couple of minutes and it's like, no, and then I'd leave. But I've been told by any number of people that I need to start watching The Big Bang Theory to understand how to own a comic book store.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well...
All coming from people who don't own comic book stores.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Chad's just shaking his head in disgust.
And the Simpsons reference, well, I have been told about Comic Book Guy too, and I don't believe that we're like that. But
No, not at all.
No.
Okay. I have to look to Chad and Sarah to let me know whether I am or not.
Am I that guy?
Am I that guy? Am I that guy?
I'm not sure. Can you tell me?
But yes. So all right. Simpsons. I don't. We don't speak Simpsons in my home. So.
Oh my God.
No.
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Oh, okay. So now my staff is revolting against me.
Revolt!
Okay.
We're staging a coup.
Oh boy.
I've only been in power for 4 months, and they're already staging a coup.
Sometimes that goes down, man. It happens that way.
And here it was. I thought I was a benevolent dictator.
It's a Dwight dictatorship.
That's great.
Oh.
It's the greatest store. It's the best.
It's the
got
best.
the best books.
I got the best books, and you know, you come in there, and the sales are huge.
They're huge.
They're huge.
So, but yeah, man, like I dig the store, man. It's come a long way since you guys picked it up. I mean, it's a lot. I just can't describe, or my words are. I've got the best words.
I got the best words.
I've got a really big brain. But no, like you guys really do have like a great. It's a warm sense in that store. Like and I don't want to talk bad about the prior proprietors because I really like those guys a lot. But you go onto Yelp and you look at their reviews, and man, the owner really had some bad reviews towards him.
Yeah. And I've gotten any number of people who have come to me and have said, well, you guys are so much, and insert your own adjective there, than the last people. We were better, we're nicer, we're cleaner, we're
More books.
more books. We've been told that
More
too.
cleanly, I've heard, like, in the past week.
Were they trying to use the bathroom all the time? I mean,
Well,
look, I judge my businesses on their bathroom. If you ain't cleaning the bathroom, you ain't cleaning the kitchen. I know better than that.
we do have a clean bathroom. I
can attest to that. I've used it.
Well,
Dude, I've just driven 75 miles. I need to pee really bad before I buy my books. Can I please use the
and
bathroom?
you know, if you promise to buy books, I will let you use my bathroom.
Oh, God, you just whatever it is. If somebody says they got to take a deuce, thank God we're not in Canada, because that woman, did you see the video of that? There was a woman at a Tim Hortons in Canada that had
saw that. Yes.
apparently she had to use the bathroom so bad, and they told her no, and
so
she dropped trowel, dropped a
there.
deuce.
Yeah.
Not only did she drop a deuce on the floor, she picked it up, threw it,
Yes.
grabbed napkins, wiped herself off, wiped her hands off, and then threw the napkins at the people, and then she left.
At that point, you gotta start re-examining your life. You know, first of all, if you're that Tim Hortons person behind the counter, you know, it's like, did I really sign up for this on my job? Right.
Not to mention, if you're at a Tim Hortons, there's no reason to be that angry.
I know.
Right,
You're in
know?
Canada. How bad can it really be?
Yes. Well, you know, I spent some time in Canada. I have one of my best friends is up there, and I love her dearly, but she's one of the ones who told me I need to start watching Big Bang.
Ugh.
But yeah, when I went to visit, one of the first stops we did was at Tim Hortons. And so yeah, I think the world of them.
Nothing better than some Timbits, man.
Yes, yes.
My wife's family, they're all from Ohio, and they're like the only state that has Tim Hortons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as far as I know, I think Ohio is one of the only states in the 48 that have a Tim Hortons. So we'd go visit her aunt out in Troy, Ohio before she passed away, and I'm like, whatever you do what you're going to do. I'm going to go get some Tim Hortons and bring it back.
Well, for us, my wife is from North Carolina, and most of my family's from the South. So for when I go visit, it's Krispy Kreme. What they have up here that they consider Krispy Kremes, if you've ever been to the South, you fling those at people.
Really?
They
because I know there's that one over there on Devon. Not too far from here, actually. It's on Devon, just west of 355. You only go in when the hot donut sign is on.
Yeah,
You can't.
What Drake knew what he was talking about, right?
Well, Drake's from Canada,
Well,
so.
so yeah, when the hot light is on, you go and get the donuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is all I'm going to talk about on music, because my son is the music expert. I listen to 87.7. So for those of you who don't know that's a 70s and 80s station. So that's my music.
Nice.
Who doesn't love the 80s, though?
Seriously.
Well,
There was just this massive petition to get Weezer to cover Africa by Toto.
I
Oh my
just
God.
heard that last night.
And they finally did it. Like they were like, all right. And then they put out a single and they covered Rosanna by Toto instead. And then they finally buckled. They're like, all right, here you go. Here's Africa. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm waiting to hear it.
It's not bad.
Well, it's
I mean,
dude,
it's Weezer.
It's Weezer. Weezer's not a bad band,
God,
man.
no, yeah.
I saw them I've seen them on tour like 2 or 3 times. I saw them with the Foo Fighters, and seriously, that was one of the loudest concerts I've ever been to. And I've seen like Metallica live, and like Weezer and the Foo Fighters, there was just no comparison. Like they rocked that house down. So
this is where Dwight leaves the conversation.
it's like, well, fuck it, we ain't talking about comics. I'm just gonna sit back here and just listen.
Yeah.
So, what made you decide you wanted to buy the store? Like, what was it that you were like? I didn't even know that they were like up for like, well, we're tired of doing this now. It's been 35 years and we're just kind of bored doing it. Like, what was it? What was the impetus?
My origin story, as it
Yes, I need your secret origin. I need the secret origin of Dwight's comics.
Well, I've always wanted to own a comic book store since I was a little bitty kid. My very first comic, my grandfather and I were in a drugstore in
Spinner rack.
Spinner Rack
Nice.
in Coffeyville, Mississippi. Population me. And there was a Justice Society 80-page giant. I'll never forget it. And I was like, what is that? I must have that. And I bought it. I devoured that book. And from then on, my love for comics, for 45 years now. Good Lord, I'm old. And so I started when my wife and I moved here to Elgin. I was looking for a comic book store because the one in Palatine I was going to was a little too far to travel. And
Is it the one that's on like it's
Northwest Highway?
kind of like on the curve there?
Yes.
I've tried to go to that store several times. It's never open.
Yeah, that guy is definitely the comic book guy. He
You must be here between 12:35 and 12:34. You must get a DeLorean and go back in time in order to be at my store.
He will. You go into his store when you can get there. He has everything in disarray. There's stacks of books everywhere, and he will tell you where the things are, so you'll have to go find them. And then he loves to pontificate for a long period of time about whatever you have in your stack. Meanwhile, the people who are standing in line behind you get to also listen to that until he's tired of talking to them, and then he'll ring up their sale, and then you're next.
As all their books are ruined because their hands are sweating all over them, and they're like, now all my books are warped, you jerk. That'd be $4.95.
You can't go to his bathroom, so you're standing there doing the safety dance.
You got to go to Photos next door.
That's right. You
The
got to
safety-
Photos next door.
See, and it's funny because every time I'd go by there, I was like, pho. And then I realized it was a hot dog place, not a Vietnamese place. And I was like, well, that's a bummer.
But now they opened a chicken place across the street. What did we go? It was called Mother Cluckers. Some very good chicken though. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah, that's how you
This
are
is
a
how this
per.
goes.
This is how this show goes.
That's fine. So when we moved, yeah, and Sarah is here. We didn't just phone her in. She is actually here. But when we moved, I was actually going to Keith's Comics.
Yeah,
And so Keith and I
he's
got
got
to
a
be
pretty
very
good.
friends.
He's got a pretty decent store too, for sure.
He has got a great store. And so I was driving home one day from Keith's, and I looked to my left, and there was a sign that said comics.
You got to
And so
stop.
I got to stop. So I go in, and that's where I met the people at Dreamland, and I got to be friends with them as well. So whatever Keith didn't have, I would get from Dreamland. And they decided that they wanted to open a store at Stratford Square, which, in hindsight, was not their best decision.
No, because I remember going there and I was like, "Where are all the comics?"
Yeah.
I mean, it was like where they were offloading all of like their crap in the warehouse that they just like, here's 15 Deadpool ugly Christmas shirts and a bobblehead and 2 comics that we didn't sell at the other store.
It was a pop culture store, basically.
Yeah.
But there was also already a pop culture store in the mall,
Mm-hmm.
and so what happened?
It was like the Crips and the Bloods in the mall at that point. They
Pretty
closed the
much.
gates and like start stabbing each other.
Pretty much. And so they were looking for some people to man the store, and so she asked me would I be interested, and I was like, hell yeah. So I started there, and working part-time at a store that was supposed to be a comic book store, was a pop culture store, and I would have people come in and like you looking for comics, and
You got to
there
drive to
weren't any,
Schaumberg.
and they would ask for pops, and I would send them down to the FYE.
Ugh.
I'll get to that later on.
I will say they got good T-shirt deals though.
They did have good T-shirt deals. And so when we were working there, she had mentioned that they had been doing this for about 30 years, and they were looking to get out. It was just a casual conversation we were having, and I was like, "Oh, you are? Well, I'm looking to get in." And so it was just kismet.
Nice. What were you in your previous life? What?
In my previous life, I'm ex-military.
Okay.
After I got out of the military, I bummed around doing all kinds of administrative jobs. Have typewriter, will travel. My last job that paid anything, I was working for the state.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I used the words "got paid" loosely because I was working for the state, working in the Department of Juvenile Justice.
Okay.
We were handling juvenile parole.
Oh, wow.
And if you ever want to have a soul-sucking job, go work for juvenile parole.
Really? I can imagine.
It's, I would go home at night and hug my son because it was just the stories that you would hear and the things that you would see would just break your heart.
Kind of like one of those jobs you need to have therapy at the end of the
Absolutely.
at least once or twice a week after dealing with that.
So
for sure.
when we were looking for my house, I told my realtor the one thing I have to have is a bar. Because I needed that. I don't shop. I don't have retail therapy. I have liquid therapy. But anyway, so
we'll be looking for the bottle of Jack underneath the counter at the store in about 3 weeks.
Right. Come on in and have a shot with me. Why not? But yeah, so I went to my boss and said, "Can I buy a comic book store?" And she said, "Well, why would you want to buy a comic book store?"
Why wouldn't you buy?
And that was my answer. I was like, "Why wouldn't you want to buy a comic book store?" But no, I kid. My wife is the greatest cheerleader that the store will ever have. I drag her kicking and screaming to every comic book movie, and she dutifully sits there, and she's trying to learn, difference between the Justice League and the Justice Society.
I'm still trying to learn the difference between the Justice League and the Justice Society.
And these are okay. So Chad and I are gonna have a conversation now when we get off mic.
Look, you work here. You need to know this shit. I'm gonna buy you a damned encyclopedia. You better download Wikipedia straight to your brain, son.
But so yeah, she signed off on it, and we worked it out, and Dwight's Comics was born.
Fantastic, man.
It is every day is better than the day before. I mean, if anyone ever gets the opportunity to live your dream, you should take it.
That's fantastic.
It took me 40 some odd years to finally do it. My only regret is that I didn't do it 20 years sooner. I am surrounded by a great team who I trust to do good works. The customers, like yourself, are awesome. I get to sit and talk comic books all day.
Nice.
What a cool job.
Absolutely. And you're talking to somebody who also worked in retail, similar to that. I mean, I worked in music stores for 10 years before I got my big boy job. Mm-hmm. And, it was one of those things. It's like, man, if the guys that own the store that I worked at ever decided to sell and I had the money to buy it, I would buy it. You know, I mean, but now record stores are kind of going the way of the dinosaur. But
my son, I told him about a record store once. He's like, "What is that?" And so yes.
do they sell MP3s? Like, how? What are you doing with this? But yeah, and it's weird because like I have this reoccurring dream that I visit a store where it's kind of a almost like a garden level store, like a sub-basement type floor or store, where you walk down a single set of stairs to get into it. And on the right side of the store is the record store, and you walk into the left side, and it's the comic book store. And that is like the best of both worlds for me. That would be like my dream like store. And then there's like a little coffee shop somewhere involved in that as well. Oh, if I only had $1 million. Like that would be my jam right there.
We have half of that. We need the donut store, like in the back.
That's right.
Oh.
Just franchise out a Tim Hortons, man.
Oh, can we get a hold of someone, because life would be good.
Dude, right over here on Irving. Over here on Irving, they just opened up a brand new donut shop, the Country Style Donuts.
It's National Donut Day today.
I know, my wife just told me that.
I already had like a bunch of red velvet donuts from
Nice.
there.
They have the best blueberry donuts. The best. Like, fantastic blueberry donuts. And they make them fresh. Like, it's not like Dunkin' where they get like a shipment and then they have to like open each individually wrapped donut. What happened to the dude that was like, time to make the donuts?
Time to make the donuts, yes. What happened to that guy?
He died.
From all those donuts.
From all the donuts. But like, I took my son up there about 3 weeks ago on a Saturday morning. Like, he was still in his pajamas. I'm like, let's go get donuts, boy. Because I'm impulsive like that because I have depression issues.
Life is
And so we went out to get donuts, and like the guy sitting there like rolling them out, cutting them and throwing them in the grease, and we're like, this is the spot right here.
Like I said, Krispy Kreme.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Well, Cindy and I had talked when we were having those what would we like to do when we grew up dreams. And we had said a combination comic book store and coffee shop. But then now as a retailer, I'm glad we didn't do that because
You'd get coffee
I don't
all
have
over.
a fucking library. You got to buy the stuff,
right?
Buy it and get out.
Right, you can buy it and read it, but
that's right.
That's it, man. I'm not, and don't spill anything. Jesus, you know how much it costs to clean these carpets? Good God.
I mean, yeah, I'm finding out a lot of different things about store ownership. I didn't realize before.
Did you have much experience in retail prior to this?
No, not really.
Oh.
I had the occasional part-time gig when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm jumping off into the deep end here. And,
yeah.
I'm finding out things like, payroll taxes, and I'm like, they don't work for the love of the books.
What do you mean I gotta pay taxes?
I gotta pay taxes, and then I gotta pay employees. What? Wow.
Taxation is theft, man. Talk to my buddy Tom. He'll tell you. But yeah, like it's crazy. Like I like I said, I worked retail for from the time I was 14 to the time I was 25. Yeah, it's brutal. Like don't get me wrong. If you're in a situation or a store that you like to work at, it's fantastic. You get some weirdos though, man. Like,
I could tell you stories.
Oh, yeah, and you've only been there 4 months. Just wait until you're like 5 years in. Like, oh my gosh. Like there's like, and I'm sure like, with music, you have one niche of customer that comes in. With comics, I'm sure it's a completely. What do you mean? There's no issue 45? This comic has like a half a little dog ear on the corner. I can't purchase this. Do you have a replacement for it?
Oh my God! I just had a flashback. No, we've had those already. We've had people that have complained about a dent in a corner. We've had ones that were mad that the latest issue of Saga was 7 weeks late. Like I printed the fucking thing.
Right. You're like, this is not my problem. And you do realize they do not come bagged and boarded. How can I have I've seen boxes that have come in from Diamond that just have like a fist hole through the side of it. Like somebody from FedEx is just pissed off and they're like, I hate comic books. Fuck that Dwight guy.
Oh gosh. Or what was one of the other things that we get? We get people that will want.
Do you have hubcaps for 72 Buick Regal? No. Why would we carry those? Woo, Navy SEALs.
I have not had that yet, thank God.
How much are these? Big sale sign behind you.
Yes. Oh no, they're looking for the latest whatever, and I have it. I'm advertising it right next to me.
Right.
It's right here.
Do you have that Superman 1000?
Yeah.
Action Comics 1000? Do you see the big fucking display right next to?
Oh my gosh! The only thing missing is neon, and I think if I had neon, they still wouldn't see it. Well,
Yeah.
Technically, I do.
It's just all along the ceiling.
You're right. It's all along the ceiling.
Well, it's funny. Like the guy that Steve, the owner of the record store Kiss the Sky that I used to work at, they're still in business, man. 20 years, 21, almost 21 years in. I think 20. No, they are 21 years in, and they're still going strong. But like every there used to be like, well, is this on sale? He's like, yes, of course it's for sale.
What? But what?
But what?
Or so people will go. Now we have a dollar bin.
Oh yeah.
So people will go through the dollar bin and they will pull out a book and they will ask me, how much is this worth? How much is this? How much is this?
What is this worth? I don't know. There's a Overstreet behind you. Look it up. But if it's more than $1, that's what you're paying.
That's what you're paying.
Granted, sometimes that did come in handy, like how we found all the metal in the dollar bins.
Right. Somebody, one of my employees had put all of our Dark Knight medals in a dollar bin, which they shouldn't have done. I'm not going to name any names, but
Sarah.
But luckily, one of our customers had saw those and said, "I don't think these should be $1, Dwight, unless you're just a really great guy." And I'm like, "No, I'm not that great. Give me them books." And so.
And granted, this all happened on Free Comic Book Day.
Yes.
So it's like,
where everybody comes in and is like, what do you mean this $35 book isn't free? It's free Comic Book Day. No, stupid.
Oh my gosh. I now understand Black Friday. Free Comic Book Day was insane.
Oh yeah.
It was. And then of course there will always be the line.
But dude. African American Friday, please.
Respect. So
just so you know, I'm giving him a hard time. Dwight's a black man, and just to put that out there, and which is almost like a unicorn in the comic book world. And I'm not trying to be rude about it, but it's like that was another question that I'm gonna ask you later on.
Oh, okay, because I have an answer for that.
Yes, I'm sure you do.
But
because actually, Leo and I talked about persons of color in the comic book world as well. So
it was. Where were we talking about? Free Comic
Book Day.
And so there will be that one person on Wednesdays. We have a lot of the customers who like to just come in and shoot the shit because it's the books we like to talk about it. There were a couple of people who came in on Free Comic Book Day. The line is out the door,
and they wanted to talk.
And they want to talk to me about this week's books. And I'm like, dude, do you not see all these people behind you with machetes? you gotta keep it moving. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Free Comic Book Day, and we did not have a drive-through this time. That was a little in joke. Last year, for Free Comic Book Day, the owners of the store had someone drive through the window.
Oh, that's right.
And so a lot of people up leading up to Free Comic Book Day were asking me, was I going to have a drive-through this year?
Yeah, because they had because the property management didn't fix that door for like 4 months. The window. It was like I walked in. I'm like, what the hell happened? They're like, old man drove through
the window. On Free Comic Book Day, the busiest day of our year. But yeah, I am pleased to report that
just raise your hand, Sean. Or Chad. Why did I call you Sean?
Chad, whoever you are.
Look, Bill.
I'll just go by hey, you.
Right.
Everything. Well, it made it even more scary too because a few days earlier, someone had drove through the window of a store a couple stores down.
So the shopping center is cursed. Someone's going to drive through every plate glass window in there.
Oh.
All right, so there's a lull in the conversation.
Right.
Thank you, Chad, for bringing it down.
Thanks, dude. You just
That's what I do. I bring it down.
You're bringing me down, man.
Bringing me down.
Nice. So yeah. So let's talk some real shit here.
Oh, okay. We about to get real.
We about to get really real. So no. Again, like I was saying, how's it to be a person of color? Not only one who is into comic books, but also is now the proprietor of a comic book shop. Like like I said, it's like kind of like the White Rhino. You are the unicorn. You don't really see that. Like I go to see Tuitu, and it's Crackerville. Like it's like a sea of cream cheese going around. I'm like, body shapes and color too. But yeah, it's interesting, and I'm like, I'm so fascinated by it. Like I'm fascinated by, like, you know, because when Leo was here, he's like, I grew up in Pilsen, man, like in a largely Hispanic neighborhood. There are people that do art there, but like you don't see them getting into comics. Like you're kind of like, you know, like to be a white guy and into comics, you're almost ostracized for that.
Well, yeah.
But to be in the black community and be into comics, I couldn't even imagine.
It was interesting growing up as a comic book lover because no one in my family was. And I was the butt of a lot of jokes. I still am. Thank you, wife, for reminding me about that. Thank you. And
I was just giving you a hard time on the way here.
So I would always go to family reunions, and the cousins would always come up and say, "You remember back when we were all kids, and you were reading all those comic books?"
You're like, "Yeah, I still do." Reading comic books. Yeah. So now I own a comic book store. Winning. Right.
So
what do you own, bitch?
That's right. I own a store. No. But yeah, it was interesting in the community. Just to find a comic book store to go to. It's funny. I was talking to Keith about this today. When we were kids, we used to get the comics in the mail.
Yeah.
And he did it as a choice. I did it out of necessity because there really wasn't a lot of options for me as far as stores to go to. And then when there were stores to go to, they were in neighborhoods that's, let's say, not kind to African Americans.
A lot of sheets in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, a lot of sheets in those neighborhoods. And so
they had crispy, crunchy chickens, and every word started with a K. I don't know how they made chicken with a K, but it was weird.
It was weird. But yeah, so that was interesting. But when I graduated high school, I joined the military, and there was a lot more inclusion in the military for comic book lovers. On bases, they at the PX, there would actually be racks of comics. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go buy mine, and I'd stand next to another guy who was probably from some of those places that, you know, with the crispy chicken. And now we're looking at each other as just, you know, two guys in uniform who happen to love, you know, Batman. And
right.
So now we have that shared, you know, interest. And so we were building bridges back then. And so as far as the owning a shop, I hadn't really given it a lot of thought until about a month ago. We had a guy come in, and we were just talking, you know, about books, and all of a sudden, out of a clear blue sky, he asked, it's kind of the same way you did, so how does it feel to be a black man in a white neighborhood owning a comic book store? And I was like, well, I hadn't thought about it till you just brought it to my attention, but now that you've brought it to my attention, maybe you should leave my store.
I meant no offense, please. I seriously, I meant no offense by it. Please take no offense.
I joke. I kid. But to be honest, I haven't had any negativity thrown my way about it. I've had some curious people, and so I need to come up with a more standard answer to it. I don't think I've lost any customers because of it. I hope not. And if I have, and you're listening to this, come back. I'm okay. I really am. And I did hire white people. So
well, you know what? I got one better. If you decided not to come back because Dwight's black, fuck you.
Well, okay.
I'll go out on the limb for that one.
He can say that. I can't.
He's like, I'm trying to make a buck. Shut up.
I need to earn some money.
Look.
I got payroll taxes.
Right? So, look, white racist money spends just as good as everybody else's.
Right. It's all green. But no, I have been fortunate in in all of my encounters growing up that I've never had a whole lot of prejudice thrown my way. I mean, of course, I've encountered some. It'd be ridiculous for me to think not. And that's an unfortunate byproduct of the climate in which we live today.
Well, the cool thing about this area too is it's very culturally diverse.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Like I was telling Leo, we're the minorities in this neighborhood. I mean, it's largely Hispanic, and then also a lot of Asian Indians in this neighborhood. Still can't find a damn good can't find a good Indian restaurant to eat at around here unless you go into Schaumberg. But yeah, it's a really ethnically diverse neighborhood and area through here. So I think that's pretty rad.
Right.
You
and
know?
actually, what I did joke and tell someone once before, I said, it's not that typical for me. Well, I think it's more difficult for Sarah. She's a female.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speak on this, please. Especially after Gamergate and all that.
I get the most comments in the store
I'm
about.
sure.
I will even.
So do you read comics? Are you really?
Oh, yeah.
Do you read Snot Girl? Because that's a girl comic, right?
I don't actually read her, but
I bet you read a lot of Lumberjanes.
I've never read that. People come in the store, look at me, roll their eyes, and then walk down the rack, and then they'll make a huff, and then come ask me something. I was like, "Can I help you?" And be like, "Do you have such and such title?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I have it right here." And I'll pull it out and be like, "Do you remember this part? Wasn't it great?" And they're like, "Oh, okay."
Oh man, that's just awesome to be able to shove it right down their mouth. Stupid jerks! I'm just so angry about things. I'm angry for you.
No, we're all pretty chill except for Chad. He's an angry man. He's an angry man. So angry. It's no, that's our big joke. Because Chad is about the most chill individual I think I've ever met. And we all are. It's a comic book store,
right?
At the end of the day, we sell funny books,
right?
So, there's going to be those people that will have questions about me as a black guy, or Sarah as a girl, or Chad is
a bald white guy,
who's got anger issues. But we're all good, and then my wife will come in on the weekends, and she will open her mouth, and then North Carolina comes out, and people are like, "Wait, what?"
Wait, you got really right
on. But yeah, it's a freaking United Nations up in Dwight's Comics. Come on in and check it out. So.
You are the Justice Society.
We are the Justice Society. Oh gosh. But no, it is a joy every day. And like I said, the customers are interesting because you never know what you're going to get from one day to the next. It's like a box of chocolate.
My customers are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, and sometimes they're full of nuts.
Oh, no, more often than not.
Nice. So, okay, so I just threw some loot down at your store yesterday.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much.
No problem. My pleasure. So I just started reading that JLA, Rock of Ages. What the hell is up with Blue Electric Superman?
Okay.
What is up with that? Because I'm looking at him like, why is he blue?
I didn't know what peyote they were smoking when they decided to do that. But that was shortly after, and Sarah, you have to correct me. Was this after he came back from the dead? I think so. Yes. So
when there were 15 Supermen.
When there were 15 Supermen.
And the one had the mullet.
Right.
Oh, the super mullet.
That was my favorite.
You gotta love the super mullet.
So, one of the great things about comic book people is that we are, as a society, very detail oriented. So I'm sure if I made a mistake in what I just said, someone will come and correct me. Dwight, he was not before Superman died. He was not after he died. He was before he died, and it was in issues 718 through 733, and it was drawn by and it was written by, and how dare you not know that? I'm taking my business to Keith. And so,
like Keith didn't know it either,
Keith
dumbass.
didn't know it either, dumbass.
I called Keith and Keith didn't know. We talk to each other, right?
But
we're a small niche.
There were actually two Supermen. He is split off into two characters: Superman Red and Superman Blue.
What is he, a Pokemon?
He was a Pokemon, and they were both.
Sarah just rolled her eyes so hard I heard it.
It was electric energy that he had, and it was a whole thing in the Superman books. And since he was obviously a member of the Justice League, they decided to roll that into the Justice League. I think there were a few issues where Batman literally rolled his eyes. But yeah, so that was in their heyday when they were when anything goes in comics. They broke Batman's back, and they put Azrael in his place.
Dude, that Azrael suit was rad, though.
Actually, it was. But he didn't play well with others, so he didn't last very well in the Justice League.
What, Blue Superman or Azrael?
Azrael.
Okay.
Blue Superman. Well,
yeah. Yeah, I didn't read the Justice League at that time. Like, I read comics when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And then, like a lot of people, like I got into high school, and next thing you know, there's girls. And girls probably won't like me if I like comic books, so I gotta put this in the side here a little bit. And then I didn't get back into it until I was like 30.
Oh.
Yeah, it was right around the time that the New 52 came out. When New 52 came out, I was like, it's a good starting point. I can jump into this world and not have to be, overwhelmed and overburdened by 70 years of history prior to that. So I jumped on, with the Batman books, because Batman's my guy.
Well, yeah.
He's everybody's guy. But you know what? I will say this. What happened to Superman's popularity? Like, my son, Grayson, is like, he loves some Superman. Like, I'm a Batman guy. I've tried. Lord knows. He still loves Superman. I don't know. Maybe there's a cross in the DNA somewhere. I don't know what's wrong with the boy. But he loves him some Superman. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy Superman as well.
I am so screwed because my son is named after Batman. Bruce Wayne is
nice.
My son. And everyone makes jokes like, he's going to like Spider-Man.
Yeah, right?
So
well,
screwed.
My son is Grayson Thomas. All you got to do is throw Wayne at the end of that, and you're good to go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, but like...
I wanted to name my son Jean-Luc, but my wife was not hearing that.
Star Trek guy?
Star Trek The Next Generation.
TNG was good, man. I remember watching
that. Oh, my gosh. But no, Superman, well, the writers made him too powerful. And so then the stories got to be a little rote after a while. And because, when you can, juggle the moon, there's really not a lot you're going to do.
He's a tough character to write for.
He's a tough character to write for. And so that's when they decided we'll go in a room, smoke some peyote, and come back and
have Blue Superman.
Yeah, and kids, don't do drugs. Just say no.
Or say yes. It's okay. We don't condemn. We don't condemn or condone. So do what you want to do. Just don't hurt nobody.
There's no smoking in Dwight's comics, though.
Yeah.
No judging.
But
keep your book smoke free, kids.
Keep your book smoke free, kids. Bag and board. But no, since I would like to say, like, from the 2000s on, they've worked to try and get better stories for Superman, and in that regard, I'm kind of excited for this Bendis run. I'm wanting to see what he does with them. I've never been a huge Bendis guy. Well, I'm an okay Bendis guy. I read Jessica Jones, never read Ultimate Spider-Man, and what was the other thing that he was famous for that I didn't read?
This motherfucker's famous. I'm
people say, but I didn't read it.
It's almost like one of well, this band is just too popular now. I'm not going to listen to him anymore.
Yeah. But and besides, I was always Team Batman. So,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's interesting. So for folks who don't know out there, Superman is DC Comics.
I'm sorry, I just assumed.
No, see, you never assume.
That's right.
As Stan Lee says, every comic could be somebody's first comic.
That's true.
Excelsior. But so, and then Brian Michael Bendis, who's now currently writing the new Superman Man of Steel book, which I should have picked up issue 1 just to check it out.
At Dwight's Comics.
At Dwight's Comics. And but Brian Michael Bendis had like what, a 20-year run at Marvel?
Yeah, he was an exclusive writer for Marvel.
So him crossing the aisle is like, I don't know, John McCain going like, I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal now.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go into that. Okay.
No.
I'm cool. I'm cool. We can do that.
Okay, it's a bad analogy, but he's crossing the aisles, man.
Cool. All right.
And there's nothing wrong with Marvel Comics.
Right.
I'm not saying that they're the evil empire.
Although they do have Star Wars books.
Oh, their Star Wars books are so good, though.
I am a Star Wars movie fan.
Aha.
I have not read a novel or read a comic book.
I've not read any of the novels. There's just too damn many of them. But the comics, I've only started reading them since Marvel picked up on them. And when I found out that Jason Aaron was going to be writing the flagship Star Wars book, I was like, I'll read anything Jason Aaron puts his name on. So I was like, all right, I'm in for a penny and for a pound on this one. And nothing has disappointed me yet. There have been like some of the one-shots that they've put out, like the DJ one-shot, I was like, eh. But like he was kind of a shit character in Jedi anyway, or in Last Jedi anyway. But like the rest of the stuff that they've put out has been stellar. Like the Han Solo book is fantastic. I can't wait to crack open the new Lando book. You know, they've got a great team of writers. Like this Thrawn book that came out, it's based on a novel, but that's really good. The Dr. Aphra, who is a brand new character that came through the comics, through the Darth Vader book, is excellent. The Darth Vader run right now is excellent. Like, there's not a dud book like that's gone more than a one-shot in that whole Star Wars universe. It's been fantastic.
Well, we're excited to go see the movie tomorrow. We're going to go see Solo.
Oh, it was so good. It makes me talk like Paul Bearer. It was so good. I want to go see it again.
But no, I have yet to read any of the comics, and I'm hesitant to put it in my stack because if
you read one, you're going to read 1,000.
Right, and I already have too many books to read.
See all those? I still have to put those away. That's not the ones I haven't even read yet. I got a big stack upstairs and I haven't even bagged and boarded yet.
Long boxes of books to read. And
yeah.
Now,
you got a whole store to read now.
Right. I have a whole store to read now. And customers will, as I'm checking them out, I'll say, oh, I see that you've got the latest Star Wars whatever. What do you think about it? Oh, my God, you're not reading this? You've got to read this. And so I throw it on the pile. And so then the next person will say, oh, if you're reading that, you ought to be reading this.
Right.
So I'll throw that on the pile. So I get home exhausted, and, I go down to my bar, and I pour myself a drink and pass out. Wake up in the morning, and I got to go to work. And so I still haven't read any of these books yet.
Yeah, my comic book time is in the morning just before the kids wake up. Because I'm usually getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'll come downstairs. I make myself a cup of coffee. I read my book, because that's about all I get until one of the boys wakes up and Grayson wanders downstairs. I want something to eat. All right, boy, come on, let's go. But yeah, so that's my time, because I try to read any other time of the day, and I'm like, right. So
it's funny though, because people, when I told them I was buying a comic book store, they're like, "Oh, that's great! You're gonna sit and read comic books all day."
Right?
Nope.
No. See, and that's the difference between a music store and a comic book store. Like in a music store, yeah, you can pop in. You can just it's passive listening. You can do it all day long. I'm like, oh, that pick up on that. That's pretty good. I like that. All right, I like that too. But you have to be involved when you're reading a book, and you can't just like have customers coming in with your nose in a book, because they will rob you blind.
Tell me about it. They'll do that when I'm not reading a book. So it's like,
oh, he's not going to notice this. He's got 1,000 of them in here.
That's right. He won't miss that one. But no, I miss the time that I had to be able to read, and I'm going to get it back. And Sarah berates me now because I'm not reading all of the stuff that she thinks I need to read, and so. What do you mean you didn't read the latest issue of No Justice? You need to read that. It's excellent.
I haven't read any of them yet. I have them. I haven't read them.
They're so good.
Well, yeah, Scott Snyder's writing it. Of course they are.
No, but it's only 4 comics, so
I
it's
know.
not like a huge set. I have a stack too.
Do you have children?
I do.
Okay.
I have a 2-year-old.
Oh, okay. So you know. All right, follow it up with a 1-year-old, and then we can talk.
I feel the pain. I get Sundays for 2 hours just to myself to read, and I am so behind. But I'm caught up on a few things.
Chad is childless, so he has no excuse why he's not reading.
He's barren.
I'm reading,
He's reading.
just not No Justice. Okay, I read number 1. I just haven't gotten around to the others yet.
You read White Knight though.
Oh yeah, no, I read.
Oh, White Knight was
Knight.
excellent. That was exemplary. That book was just fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever read Punk Rock Jesus?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm. Oh God, I just got a lot of faces.
We are all judging you right now.
Like, White Knight was my entry into the world of Sean Murphy.
Oh.
And, yeah. So like, I'm slowly trying to get into like Tokyo Ghost.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he only did the art for that. Rick Remender did
Yeah.
did the words in the story.
Huge fan of his art too.
Oh, his art's fantastic.
Yeah. Why everyone's staring
I'm
at me?
sorry.
'Cause you're
I'm
talking,
silently-
fool!
I'm silently judging you right now. So, okay.
But yeah, no. Yeah. Oh my God, White Knight was so good. Probably the most original Batman story I've read in a while.
Yeah.
God, probably ever since like Death of the Family.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, that one really took some turns.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just happy that Sean Murphy's making more books in the White Knight universe.
Berserker! Like right into it, homie. Yeah,
But I
he
was-
mentioned that at C2E2
Yeah.
that they're talking about it. And they're talking about releasing a special edition trade paperback uncensored
Oh yeah.
of White Knight.
Well,
'cause I know.
That will be at Dwight's Comics. Come on
Yeah.
by and get one.
So I was hearing the trade comes out September 11th. I think. I could be wrong. I don't know.
Foreshadowing.
I know what my son's getting for his birthday for his dad.
But
But yeah, Punk Rock Jesus, dude.
Yeah.
You need to read Punk Rock Jesus. It's fantastic.
I'll read
If you haven't, read The Wake.
way ahead of you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. The Wake is fantastic.
See, that's in my pile. I'm gonna have to get there.
The Wake has one of my favorite cells in a comic ever. And are you reading it or have you read it?
Oh God, I haven't read it all yet.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe a little bit over halfway.
Okay. There's and it's in the first half because the second half jumps into the future.
Yeah.
So the first half of it, like, you see like the sea creatures that are trying to kill everybody, like pressed up against the glass, and the hard ass guy, because I can't remember his name. You just see him; he's like got his finger up right to the glass, right to the monster's face, and the cell is seriously like it's this big. It's so tiny. It's like the size of a postage stamp, and I want to blow it up and get it tattooed on my body somewhere because I love that particular cell in the book.
Huh.
Yeah, it's Scott Snyder and that guy can spin a yarn, my friend. Like I have yet to read American Vampire, which is one of his books. I have yet to read that, and that one actually started off as a collaboration with Stephen King.
Yeah.
So that's another one that I got to put on some kind of reading list somewhere because I gotta read that.
Yeah. As a big horror fan, that one's definitely on my radar.
Mm-hmm. Did you read Witches?
I haven't yet. Is it good?
Oh, dude, it's Scott Snyder and Jock.
Okay. Yeah. No. Then I got to read it.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, this is where Sarah and I bow out. When you talk horror, we're talking horror. Chad is the one who does that for us.
It's like someone says horror at the store, and I just like pop out of the ceiling. Does someone say horror?
Hello? I'm sorry, did you say these Billy Groats 3?
Oh gosh.
You may have this book, you just have to answer my questions. Acting. Anyway, but yeah, dude, definitely, Witches is fucked up, man, but it's good. It's really good.
Like, what's it about?
Witches.
I mean,
Duh.
context clue.
Yeah. Well, it's like no, it's obviously it's about witches, but they're like tree witches. It's really weird, and about how like this guy's daughter got sold, like hereditarily, like her soul was like reincarnated or something, and like the witches are like, no, she's ours, and this guy goes into these like this tree to like save his daughter from these witches, and it all goes back to like early American days. It's pretty badass, and it's Jock doing the artwork, so it's fantastic.
It sounds like something Stephen King would do.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with Stephen King at all. So it's just Jock and Scott Snyder. So it's pretty badass, man.
Yeah, I got to be picking that one up pretty soon.
Yeah,
at Dwight's Comics.
At Dwight Comics. So yeah, it's excellent. It's absolutely excellent. So, but yeah, you saw Deadpool.
Oh my God.
All right, so we're going to get into spoiler territory. The movie's been out for at least a month at this point. Shut up and go see the movie.
Right. If you haven't already seen it, go see it twice. Because I have to go see it twice because I laughed so hard. I didn't get some of the lines.
Have you seen it?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, grow some baby legs. And
some baby legs.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, my gosh.
that
Sarah,
was like...
seen it? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right.
Spoilers!
Sarah's our parent. She doesn't get to go out to movies anymore.
See, this is where...
I ask you all the time if you want to take Bruce.
See, this is where I luck out. Like, my job allows me sometimes. I have, like, massive chunks of time during the day where I got nothing to do. I'm like, one, please? That's how I've seen Infinity War. That's how I saw Deadpool. What was the one I just saw recently? Star Wars. That's how I'm seeing all these movies. Is like I go midday where there's nobody in the theater.
That'll work. That'll work. I can shut down the store, but Cindy would beat me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but then again, like the only downside is like a lot of theaters have started selling beer, and if I go midday, I can't have beer because I got to go back to work. Sucks.
Well, that's why I drink at work.
Yeah, there you go.
No. So.
It's like when Lil Wayne's like, it doesn't matter what's in my red cup, it's my cup.
Okay, and that's another reference. Okay, I'm going to stop talking music now. But no, Deadpool was amazing.
Yeah.
The cameos, Brad Pitt, for God's sakes, that was
for
hilarious.
A quarter of a second.
That's right.
Like it was one of those. Like I'm literally watching. I'm like, was that Brad Pitt?
That's right.
And apparently, from what I was reading, they were actually approaching Brad Pitt to play Cable at one point.
Oh, did not know that. No, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, I couldn't see Brad Pitt as Cable. I could barely see Josh Brolin as Cable until they put him in the until they got him dressed up. You know.
But the movie itself was hilarious.
I'm surprised they didn't get Ron Perlman.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing these days. Like, he's definitely not doing any more Hellboy movies because they're rebooting that franchise with some dude.
The dude from Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Chief Hopper.
Really?
Yeah. But apparently...
I can't really... I mean, he's got the body type, I guess, and kind of like the big square jaw, but it's like...
He got jacked, though.
Really? But then again, Ron Perlman, like, he defined the role, you know?
But he said he would do a third one. If they ever asked him, he would do a third one.
True. I think Guillermo del Toro's not associated with it at all. So
yeah.
And did you hear they just cast Jamie Foxx as Spawn?
As Spawn. Oh my God.
And
Electro as Spawn.
I'm excited.
And from what I've heard, he's not going to have much dialogue. From what they said, from what the script is, he's not going to really be. I'm guessing they'll do the origin because they got to do a fucking origin story every time they do a movie. But they'll do the origin. I'm sure that's where his dialogues are going to come in from, and then it's going to go from there. But from I'm sure you've heard Kevin Smith talk about it because he talked to McFarlane, and apparently what they want to do is they want to just do it like a low budget horror movie.
Which okay, I'm out. Yeah.
Someone say horror.
Hello, I'm back.
But oh yeah, no. Well, they're distributing it through Blumhouse.
Yeah,
So I mean, they're
known for horror.
Yeah, that's a studio built on horror. But yeah, and just hearing Todd McFarlane talk about, I guess, how he wants to make the movie. Like, he wants to make it more or less. He was dropping titles like Alien or like Jaws, and that gets me really excited.
I can see. Dude, chill.
Well, I mean, a guy with a Jaws tattoo. I mean, you know. But I mean, that's the way he described it was like you barely see Spawn, you just know he's there.
Right.
So I'm really curious how they're gonna work that angle of it,
Mm-hmm.
especially with casting such a big actor. I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
how many pouches is his outfit going to have on it?
I hope less than the '90s one.
Dude, okay, might I say, the feet joke in
The
Deadpool?
in Deadpool was hilarious. Yeah.
That-
I had to explain it to Cindy, of course, but yeah, that was hilarious. The James Bond opening was hilarious. Sarah's looking at us, with angry eyes right now.
I mean, they got Celine Dion to actually do a song straight for the
Seriously.
movie.
That was like the first time she's done a movie since Titanic. Was the first time she's done a theme song for a movie.
It was, and then 9 to 5. I will never listen to 9 to 5
my
the
God.
Same way ever
Yeah.
again. No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, the one thing we won't spoil for you are the mid-credit scenes because those were fantastic and I'd love to talk about them, but I don't want to spoil them for you because those are actually wonderful. You're welcome. But yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Unfortunately, though, I won't be allowed to play it at the store because, the damn owner has got this PG-13 rule about playing movies in the store.
We played Blade Runner today. It's fine.
We did play Blade Runner today, but we had no customers today.
No Blade?
No, we can't do Blade. Can't do the first Deadpool.
Can't do Logan?
Can't do they do Logan when I'm not there or when I'm distracted doing something else, and all of a sudden I turn around and there's Logan playing.
You hear Picard saying, fuck. Fuck. Honestly, that was the whole reason for me to go see that, was seeing Professor X drop the F-bomb like 16 times.
What else do we play? Oh, well, Wakanda Forever is on a loop.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
I bought it. I just haven't had a chance to rewatch it. One of these.
So good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's amazing. Wakanda Forever. We are going to start playing Batman the Animated Series. For all you wanting to come see Batman the Animated Series, come to Dwight's Comics. There's going to be on a loop.
Well, I know during Free Comic Book Day, my son Grayson was just transfixed with
Brave and the Bold.
Brave and the Bold. He was just like, oh. I'm like, and it was like, dude, we got to go. It's time to go home.
I remember just seeing him from like the back of the store, like, oh, that kid's fine. He's just like standing right there. He's cool.
Right. And then he started asking for things. I'm like, dude, can I have a button? Dude, what are you doing? I want 2 buttons. Dude, you're just be glad you're getting 1. Like, we go to Target and they give him a sticker. He's like, I want 2 stickers. It's not a negotiation. And then he gets mad. He's like, I want 2 stickers on the same piece of paper. I'm like, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Well, we're grooming Bruce to take over the store one day. He comes in and he just takes over, and we're like, whatever you want, whatever you want. Cindy and I have grown children now, so we love to have little kids come to the store because it's like, yeah, all right, this is and on a serious note, I love it when people bring their children in because passing on that love of comics from parents to children is an amazing feeling to me as a reader, and so I get a soft spot when I see that happening. I see grandparents bringing in their grandchildren, and they'll both get Archie. One will get Archie, and the other will get Riverdale. Which
or one will get Archie and the other one will get the afterlife with Archie.
Afterlife with Archie. But still, I mean, it's an amazing thing, and I love that. And thus endeth the PSA.
Just don't touch anything when you get it. It's like the speech we have every time. We're going in here. Don't touch anything. Nothing. What about no?
And then you get retailers like me. It's like, hi, you want to touch these? Here, go ahead.
Right? Break it. Hey, that's $29.95.
Because as a retailer, I want mom and dad to pay that $29.95.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially with the statue.
I know.
Right. Yeah, here, you want to play with this $250 statue? Yeah.
Yeah. Because seriously, he goes directly to that because you got that big Superman in there. He's like, oh.
We actually just changed them out today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to see those rotate and be fresh every now and again, because I was like, man, you guys don't turn over this product very often, do you, Dreamland?
Right. It's funny now, because when customers come in, I'll say, did you see the new statues? What new statue? The one you're standing next to.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so used to seeing these same 4 every week, and now that we're something new.
Right.
So, now customers come in because we keep changing stuff around. They want to come see what's new.
Yeah, you got to keep people on their toes, man. You can't, that's the one thing about retail is like, yeah, it's the store that you always go to, but like you get into that zone of like, I've seen all of this before. I'm just going to go in, run around the store, grab the things that I need, or just go straight to the counter because you pull my list for me. So
I don't even need to go into the store.
Yeah, just give me what I want, and I'll be right out the door.
No.
I think there's only maybe 2 people that just go straight to the counter and that's it.
Yeah. Everybody else will actually walk around and take a look. We are expanding our back issues, and I'm going to start advertising that more, like the dollar bins. So people who, if you've been to the store before, you haven't been to the store, come and check us out. We got new stuff.
What is the address? Because you keep saying, come to the store, but...
Come to the store.
1415 West Schaumberg Road.
Right next to the Subway and what's the pizza joint?
Pizza,
Pizzas Are Us.
Pizzas Are Us or something.
Right. And the greatest ice cream shop ever, actually. That ice cream shop
Sprinkles,
yeah.
I keep hearing about them. I have not had them yet.
Dude, they've got Superman ice cream.
Really?
I am again silently judging you. So
How can...
Honestly, I don't go much farther past the pizza place.
Dude, as a similarly overweight man, what the fuck? Like, how can you get near work? Dude, seriously? I would be in that place every day. Dwight would be yelling at me. Stop dripping on the books. The counter's fucked up. There's not enough Windex in the world.
Oh, God. But no, yeah, we're right there in the middle of the mall, right across the parking lot from the laundromat. Yes, and the laundromat and tanning salon.
GTL.
I have never understood that. Well, how you GTL? I don't get it. No.
Yeah, it's because the Jersey Shore, man. You buy a tanning bed. What else are you gonna do? You're just sitting there like scratching your nuts, waiting for your laundry to dry. I guess. Well, what else are you gonna do? Go to Dwight's Comics and buy yourself some books. Find something to read.
And scratch your nuts in Dwight's Comics.
Well, don't scratch your nuts in Dwight Comics. Buy your books. Go back and scratch your nuts at the laundromat.
There's too much nut scratching going on.
I hope they sanitize those washing machines.
So now the comics are sanitized for
right.
your protection.
Oh, jeez. So, all right. So yours was the JSA 80-page spectacular.
Yes.
What was your introduction, Chad?
Oh God.
What was the first book that you were looking at? Like, yes.
Honestly, I'd probably say it's Batman.
Yes, but what issue?
Actually, it was probably around No Man's Land.
Oh, good run.
Which I still have to read.
You haven't read No Man's Land.
We talked about this at the store the other day.
We did talk about that, but we didn't talk about it on the radio.
No, we have not talked about it on the show. No, I've not read it yet.
Good stuff.
But my brother was pretty much my introduction to comics. Like he was mainly into like Batman and then X-Men.
Okay.
Kind of not what you'd expect to, pair together really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, people like what they like. But
he was wrong, but you know.
Wrong, but yeah, okay.
Not saying he's wrong or anything, but
But he's not really right either.
But yeah, no, I would always see like, ever since I can remember, just comic book paraphernalia around the house, which makes it sound dirtier than it
does
is.
sound dirty. Comic book
There's like needles with Superman's logo on it.
Man, I got to mainline that Justice League, man.
There's a big old bong with a Batman head in like the bowl piece.
But and then he would have this DVD of How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like in my head, it like Stan Lee's voice is kind of ingrained in there since probably birth.
Hey there, super friends.
Excelsior.
See, my introduction is for Stan Lee was the Spider-Man animated show, the original Spider-Man animated show, where he did the
Whatever a
voice.
spider can.
He did the voiceover for that.
Yeah.
Smiling Stan Lee.
Stan and Joltin' Jack. So Sarah,
All right, sorry.
What did you?
We never finished the story.
We're through with Chad. I'm silently judging him now. So,
Fuck you, Chad.
I'm over him. God.
What were you gonna say?
What was your first book, man?
God damn it, Chad.
Keep up. God, Chad.
Yeah, the earliest one I can remember is like No Man's Land era Batman.
Was that Chuck Dixon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, I knew something.
But it was never necessarily my comics. It was my brother's, and I would just rifle through the pile.
Sure.
You know, just seeing what covers I liked and reading those. And then, you know, chucking them aside, probably not putting them back in the bags and boards, you know, like kids do.
Right. Oh my God, my son grabbed one of my issues of Thrawn. I was like reading, and I had to get up, and Bobby, my 1-year-old, jumped. Like he's climbing now, so he climbed up on the table. And next thing I know, he's got it in his hands. I'm like, my father-in-law standing like as close to you, or it's close to me, or where you are.
Right.
And my son is where you are. I'm like, what? Bob, get it! Stop it! And my father-in-law is the one that collects all the Red Sonja stuff, so he knows, man.
Okay.
Like, get the goddamn book away from him. Sorry, continue.
The first book I don't know, I guess comprehended as a reader, I have no idea. Probably Batman still. But yeah. Either way, Batman.
Batman.
Right on. How about you, Sarah?
My first comic book experience was back in the 90s. I was little, and no one else liked comics, but my brother played Magic. And my dad would take us to this little podunk. I grew up in the middle of nowhere.
Where?
Beach Park, Zion.
Oh, yeah. I was just up there last week.
Oh, so you know where it is. I normally say that, and people are like, where?
Yeah, I literally was working at Beach Park.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my hometown. The comic book store / where we get the cards was in someone's house. Like, you walked in, racks along the walls.
That
like
sounds shady as
it was the shadiest experience, but I remember it because my brother went to go get his Magic cards, and I saw Mighty Morphin Power Rangers
nice
on the rack in Supergirl, and I was like, Dad, I need these. He's like, all right, like, whatever.
And the dude behind the counter's like, we got some real good ones in the back.
In the basement.
Yeah, and then I remember reading them and thinking it was the coolest thing, and going to school and getting completely made fun of. Every girl's like, why would you do that? Boys aren't going to like you. And I'm like, oh.
I'm like, fuck boys, I got the Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
It was back when, like, the show had come out and they ran the comic books. I had the whole line.
Nice.
I still do. It's in my parents' basement.
You might want to check that.
Yeah.
I had all of my books in my parents' basement when I went off to the Air Force, and I came home and they were all gone. And I asked my mom very calmly what happened to all of those boxes of books. And she said, well, I went to clean the basement, and they were just boxes of books that no one was ever going to read, and so I just threw them all away. Yeah. You know, I love my mother. I did. I loved her dearly. But for a fraction of a second. It was not good.
I know it said 10 cents on it, but do you know what that 10 cents is worth now?
So I had to start my collection over again, and I get people that come into the store, and we'll share that story, and we share each other's pain. Moms and comic books.
You need to have a support group.
Yes, yes.
I once had $1 million, and then my mom threw my comic
mom
books
just
away.
Threw it away.
Speaking of millions of dollars, did you see? I'm on CGC's mailing list. They sent out an email today, and apparently there's a 9-point action number 1 that's about to go up for sale. It's already over $1 million.
Oh wow!
For the auction, and they're expecting it to go higher than a lower rated book went on eBay that went for over $3.5 million.
I had not heard that. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
My eyes bulged. I was like, what?
Yeah.
It's insane.
For one comic book. Where the Superman story is only one of 3 stories that's in that particular book.
Yes.
Holy shnikes, man. And even I guess back in the 80s they repressed it for post serial or something. And those are worth $300-400.
It's amazing. People ask me, am I afraid of ever going out of business because of electronic media and all of that? I'm like, absolutely not.
No, it's a collector's market.
It's a collector's market. Did we take a hit because of Comixology and all that? Of course we did. I download books on my Kindle and all of that, but there's something about holding a book.
Physical media.
Physical, media. And as long as there are, geezers like me and we bring our children in, I'll always have a job.
Yeah. Well, it's like this. I still buy record albums.
Oh, okay.
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There's something about being able to have it, to hold it, to smell it. You get that texture in your fingers, and especially with like comics, there's a delineation. There's at some point they went from paper stock to the shiny paper that they have now.
Oh, well, before that it was newsprint.
Yeah, yeah, and you're like, oh shit, it's on my fingers, I can't get it off. But it was one of those where and I guess it's sometime in the 2000s where they switched over to the paper. I guess from what my previous shop, because I used to shop at a spot called New Game in Town out in DeKalb. And it was another one of those. It was kind of like a Magic the Gathering, gaming store, but they had comics as well. And it wasn't in a dude's house, though, so that's definitely... Because this dude
Sarah made that up.
Because this dude, I wouldn't Bear was a cool guy, but I wouldn't have wanted to go to his house. But he was yeah, they started printing the books up in Canada, and it was cheaper for them to print them up in Canada. I'm like, then why the fuck are they $3.99? But yeah, so I mean, there's something about it being able to hold it and put it in its proper bag and board and file it away. And I'm about to go through another refile here soon because I got to go stop by and get some more long boxes. But I'm about to do another refile because I'm missing things. I'm like, why am I missing these? I know that I have them. I'm missing Chrononauts number 1 and 2 and several other things. And I know that I have them. They must just be misfiled somewhere. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It's going to drive me crazy.
And and you could go on Comixology and you could get those right now.
Right.
But no.
Well, and that's the thing, too. My wife is much the same way. We got to cut back, and we need to save money, and we need to do this, which is all legitimate. But there's something about the hunt. I was talking to a good friend of mine about it, I think, a couple weeks back, and I'm like, we're not hunters anymore. We're not trying to find, track down the beast, So, this is what we have. It's the thrill of the hunt.
And the society and the youth we have now, there's instant gratification. I still, to this day, love to go into old comic book shops and just go through the dollar bins.
Oh, yeah.
To me, that is, it drives my wife crazy because she could only stand around and watch me for so long. And then, she's like, all right, let's get the hell out of here.
Right. It's how many shoe stores have I been into today?
But, no, I love to do that, and I want to, have people come to Dwight's Comics, 1415 South Schaumberg, and do that. But today's kids just aren't. My son, he doesn't read comics at all, which is blasphemy to me. But if he did, he would read them on his iPad.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to explain to him the feeling of that, and I can't quite put it into words that he understands. So.
Right, and I like, because on one of my Facebook groups I'm in, like, they were like, "Oh, do you like reading paperbacks or Kindle?" I'm like, batteries never run out on my paperback.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't have to worry about it crashing and losing everything. You know, I got it right there. You know, but yeah, I mean, for the convenience of it, if like you're like, all right, you know, for whatever reason something gets missed on your pull list for that week, and you go 3 weeks later and you're like, all right, I'm going to buy it on Comixology, but then I'm going to turn around to Dwight's Comics, 1415 Schaumberg Avenue in Schaumberg, Illinois, and I'm going to go over there and actually buy a copy of it because I need to have it. You know, you get to be, and that's a one bad thing about being a comic book fan, with, you know, being fans of books that are 80 years in the making. Like, there's no way to be a completist at this point. There's just no way. I'm never going to find a Detective 27 in my price range at all.
True.
Unless it's like a reprint of a reprint of a reprint, you know. And granted, it would be something, but there's something about having the original one too, you know, like you know, like this has passed through generations of hands.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's something that's withstanding the history. Like, you know, comic books have basically made our mythologies for today.
Right.
You know, they are our cultural milestones. We don't have anything like that anymore.
No. And it's an art form. These people, these artists.
I keep pushing it closer, and you keep sitting back.
I keep sitting back further. I don't want this thing in my face. And I was about to pontificate on something, and now it's just all gone.
We were talking about the American mythology.
American mythology of comic books. And it is a dying art form. We need to encourage more people to draw and to write, and read.
I love that Cindy's sitting back here like somebody in a Baptist church, like, preach, preach.
I was just telling somebody the other day that I got my vocabulary from reading comic books. I learned to read for the most part, and by comic books. It's entertainment, it's education, it's fun, it's cheap art.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get art appreciation.
Oh, absolutely.
People will come into the store on a weekly basis and discuss different artists. English.
Somebody get this man a drink.
Yeah, I need a drink. And it's like, you know, this is like being at an art gallery.
Yeah.
And having these people discuss the old masters.
Yeah, and you almost feel like Mr. Glass in Unbreakable. You know, Sam Jackson's character.
Way to bring around a comic book reference.
Damn.
All right.
Bam!
Bam!
Welcome to Pop Goulash. Oh, my 3-year-old would love this. Your 3-year-old can't have this.
But no, I am not concerned at all about our business. We will, as long as people like paper and 4 colors, we will sell comics at Dwight's Comics, 1415 West Schaumberg Road in Schaumberg.
So, and one thing that we talked about when Leo was here, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, was, I've heard people complaining about how all these superhero movies are, 1, oversaturating the market, and 2, diluting the characters and pulling people out of the store. Like, I'm a Marvel fan. No, you like Marvel movies. You're not a Marvel fan. You don't read. What are your guys' thoughts? Chad.
Oh, God, I don't even have my thoughts composed yet.
Hey, man, you got to bring your A game when you're on Pop Goulash.
No, my thoughts about the actual movies, I think they're great for business because people will go and see Guardians of the Galaxy, and then they will come in and ask for these books, and then when they see that Chris Pratt isn't in the book, that gives us an opportunity to tell them about the stories, and we've hooked another reader that way.
Right. Yeah, because like Yondu is like really the only original member of the Guardians, right?
Right.
And he wasn't even a member of the Guardians in the movie.
Yeah, he was the protagonist in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I watched them. And for what they are, okay. I'm about to alienate some people.
Bring it.
I'm a DC guy.
Yep.
DC makes shit movies. I mean I love the Marvel movies, and I'm not a Marvel guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah. With the one exception, Wonder Woman was phenomenal.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was a wonderful movie.
Gal Gadot, oh my God.
She is Wonder Woman.
She is Wonder Woman.
She is Wonder Woman for now, like Linda Carter was in the 70s.
Right. And if only DC could do more movies like that. Yes.
Are you saying DC movies as a whole, or like the DC cinematic universe now?
The DC cinematic univerce now.
Okay, I was about to freak out and be like, I'm sorry, Michael Keaton's Batman.
Michael Keaton is Batman.
The Dark Knight.
It's like, no, that was Heath Ledger.
That was a fantastic movie. I'm sorry.
The movie, it was awesome, but as a whole, DC movies. Well,
currently,
I mean, it's apples and oranges with Marvel movies. It's just they just are.
It's so dark. What is this? The DC universe?
Oh my God. Yeah. See, when Marvel can openly make fun of them and people will get it the joke, it's not funny.
Yeah, like
I'm a DC guy.
You know what? And the funny thing is, I actually like the DC movies for what they are. They're not great. They're not groundbreaking. But damn it all, like. At least I get to see Batman on the screen again.
Right, and I mean, and they did try to make Aquaman badass.
Dude, I can't wait. Aquaman's coming out next year, and from everything that I've heard, like the people who have seen footage, it sounds pretty badass.
But you know, these are the A-list characters in DC that are getting movies that are getting lukewarm receptions, whereas Ant-Man is an appointment movie for people, for God's sake.
Ant-Man, like, of all of the Marvel movies that have been out, it's not the best of the Marvel movies, of the Marvel studio movies.
But it's still better than most of the DC movies.
It's my favorite of the Marvel movies.
Ant-Man?
Ant-Man.
I can see that.
I don't even really, I know nothing of Ant-Man going into it, but, like, it's a heist film.
Yeah.
And it's a great heist film.
Yeah.
That's what Marvel's got going for it, though. Like, that's a great heist film. Winter Soldier's a great spy thriller.
Yeah.
Like, they just suck you in that. You can look at it and be like, you know, this is a comic book movie, but damn, like, that was great as a spy thriller.
Absolutely.
Ragnarok was a buddy comedy.
Dude, it was an amazing buddy comedy. It's right up there with Ant-Man for me. And Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out, in next month?
Next month.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, and I'm actually excited to go see it.
Jesse Pena in that movie is he's the best.
He's amazing.
And his descriptions of things where he does he talks about it and this thing, and this guy, and then the other people are lip syncing to it. Dude, that's the funniest shit ever.
And why can't DC lighten up? They're so dark.
Well, you know what? It's David Goyer.
David Goyer. Yeah.
Stop writing my movies, okay? Get some comic book people in there to write the movies.
And that's the thing. They really need some comic book people.
What happened was Goyer wrote The Dark Knight, which was a fantastic movie, and they're like, all right, let's just give him all the money and let him write everything. You can't.
No.
Especially Superman. I liked The Man of Steel for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they shot it 25 miles from here, And it was a decent movie. It was a different take on Superman. I get it. There wasn't a whole lot of joy in it. But
or any?
Yeah. And I mean, I understand where people had their griefs about it, but at the same time, dude, look, you got Superman on the screen again. And it definitely wasn't Superman Returns, which, let's face it, it was probably the most do-nothing Superman movie ever. You could do a drinking game with how many times Superman caught something in that movie.
You know, I did have an argument against that, but yeah, you're totally right. I was going to say Quest for Peace.
No, I'd watch Quest for Peace over it because he did nothing in that movie. He was a creepy stalker. I'm just going to float outside of Lois Lane's window and look at her creepily.
That's right, because it wasn't until the end where he was, the Christopher
Superman.
Reeve Superman, smiling at the camera and,
Yeah, and he made what's his name, the actor
Brandon Routh.
He makes a much better Adam.
Yeah,
and on the
somebody was convincing me just the other day that I need to start watching Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow is a great show.
I watched the first episode. I was like, I'm out.
It's good. It's actually gotten a lot better, and the cast changes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people come in, people go. So it's constantly refreshing. So I dig it. I dig all of those WB shows.
Well, see, I haven't watched any of them past like an episode or two. I mean, Gotham was like,
Gotham sucked.
And
look, by the time in the Gotham universe, by the time Batman gets old enough to fight his rogues, they're all going to be old men, and he's just going to be beating up a bunch of old men.
And the room went dead.
I just got so much beef with that show just in general.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess Fox has a deal where they can't name the Joker by name.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. Or really have any, I guess, characteristics of him, like no green hair.
Right, but the guy that they have playing the Joker character, he's from Shameless. He's fantastic in Shameless.
He's great in Shameless.
But they're almost kind of doing like the Death of the Family, like Joker, I rip my face off Joker with the stitches and everything. And I stopped watching it after like the second season, and that's pretty rough for a Batman guy to be like, fuck this show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like that with Smallville, too. I was like, yeah.
Well, then they killed that Joker off.
And then he came back.
Yeah, he has a twin.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so soap
And then
opera.
that Joker, gave his twin Joker the Joker toxin, and now he's...
But then again, if you think about it, it kind of falls in line with what they're doing in Rebirth, where, he sits on Morbius's chair and Batman finds out that there were actually 3 Jokers. And there are 3 Jokers, which kind of opens things up. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Sarah was going to say something.
I question you still watching it.
Yeah.
Like, we're all tapped out.
That's
Like,
right.
my biggest problem is Bruce and Selena had no clue of each other when they were children.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole Poison Ivy thing, I'm done. I'm out.
What,
And
she
you're
was like young, and then she was old, and I guess she's young again
they,
or
like,
something?
killed her off. I think. I don't even know. And you're still in.
And why is Jarvis Tetch 6'2" and dashing?
That's right. That is not the Penguin.
So I'm not actually still watching it. I just catch news where I can. Because I'm pretty sure me, like everyone else, is really curious where the hell the show's going.
Nope, I saw where it was going, and I got off that train.
Yeah, I got off that train, too.
But, dude, the Teen Titans, they're going to do a Titans show now. I think it's going to be on...
live action, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
I saw set pictures of the costumes, and it seems weird.
Well, I mean, it's the Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you going to do? They're all goofy-looking costumes in the books.
Yeah.
Starfire's basically naked half the time.
Yeah, that's true.
They can only make it more modern and more realistic, I guess. I mean, come on, they're funny books, but you got to kind of base it in reality somehow.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that, to actually see those characters on a small screen where they might actually do some better with them. Like look at Daredevil. The Ben Affleck version was
hot garbage.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
It was entertaining for the time, at least.
But the Netflix show, they got 13 hours to expand that character. That Netflix show was amazing.
Oh my god, yeah.
Even the second season, which everybody shits on, was good.
Yeah, I thought Sexy was amazing.
Look, the shittiest version of Daredevil is better than Gotham.
Yeah,
I'll say that. And there are, people do have their beefs with the WB shows because, Arrow is basically Batman with Oliver Queen, but still, it's enjoyable. I watch it.
I don't know. I'm out. The Flash, I'm out.
Really? The Flash was excellent.
I watched the first season, and I saw where they were going with Edward Thane, and I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work for me. And so
jaded.
I am, man. I only have so many hours, and I should be watching Big Bang Theory and stuff.
You know what though?
I think you're good.
I will give this: The Flash and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow, you get that joy that's missing out of the DC cinematic universe. You know, Grant Gustin as the Flash, way better than Ezra Miller as the Flash. Even though he was the bright spot of the Justice League.
Right.
Well, him and Jason Momoa. Like, I'm a straight man, but goddamn.
Yeah.
I would not kick him out.
Jason Momoa. Okay. Yeah. Well.
Called Drago.
It's funny. I just heard yesterday that Jason Momoa dropped out of the Crow movie.
He should.
Yeah.
He should. He's not the Crow. I'm sorry. Like, the Crow should be some skinny, wafy little goth dude.
Yeah.
You know? That's not Jason Momoa.
No, oh God.
Jason Momoa would fuck the Crow up. Like, I honestly, I read The Crow.
Yeah.
What the fuck? The movie was way better than the book.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, and I understand that, like, James O'Barr had some mental problems, I guess, or he got hit with something. I don't know. Like, because there was always like, is this autobiographical? What's going on? I mean, obviously he didn't come back from the dead and murder all of his enemies, but like the death and everything of the girlfriend and all that, like, he's been very cagey over the years about that. Like, it could have actually happened and that inspired the book. But like, some of the artwork in the book is absolutely beautiful, and some of it looks like it was sketched by a 3-year-old on PCP. And then like, it has all this weird like poetry in it that was like really, like, this is pretentious as fuck.
Yeah.
And there's like very few people I'll take pretentious from. Like Grant Morrison, I'll take pretentious from Grant Morrison.
Yes.
Alan Moore, I'll take pretentious. James O'Barr, who are you?
Right.
You wrote one book. Like, you have to establish yourself before you can get too pretentious on us.
Yeah.
So, there's the lull.
There's the lull.
And I don't think they should even remake The Crow at all. I think it's a good adaptation and should probably be hung in a museum somewhere.
Right? This belongs in a museum. Like, it's a decent. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But even with the tragedy that surrounded the movie, like that alone, like it. But even though, like, I even think that there was some like really bad shit that happened on like the 2 sequels that came out for that. Like City of Angels had something go on, and
Edward Furlong is enough of a bad situation.
yeah. God, what was the last thing he was in that was any good?
Jail.
Terminator 2.
Jail. He went to jail? So, but okay, so every week, every 2 weeks now, we always ask the question, what are you consuming? Be it music, TV, movies, books. What is it what is occupying your time? I know we've talked about a lot of that stuff, but like within the last few weeks here, what has been occupying you? Like, what has been really like the thing that, like, you're stuck on in a good way?
Oh, in a good way. Oh.
Well, you can talk about shit that pisses you off, too. I don't care. I mean...
Oh, my goodness. What have I been occupying my time with?
Bills.
Payroll.
Cattle prodding these guys.
There's
time to lean, there's time to clean.
I've got to pay these people.
Earn your keep.
I don't want to take Sarah's away from her. I have been rewatching the Star Trek: The Next Generation from the beginning, because every couple of years I like to do that. You know, I got to reacquaint myself with Picard and the crew.
That's a hell of an undertaking.
It
now.
is, and I'm
Are
a
you
hell of a guy.
Are you watching it on Netflix or the remastered ones? Because I've heard that they've updated the special effects in there. It's just wonderful.
I actually got Blu-ray.
Okay, so you do, yes.
Yeah, and they're fascinating. And even though I can probably recite a lot of the lines right along with Data and Geordi, I still just get a kick out of watching them. That's my relaxation when I should probably be reading some of these books in the stacks that I have. When I find that I can't sleep at night because I'm worrying about payroll and things like that, I'll go down and pop in a DVD, and that relaxes me. Reading wise, No, that's okay. I don't want to take that away from Sarah.
You can talk about it. I got other things.
Okay. I'm reading No Justice. Oh my God, this is so good. I only hope that Justice League proper is going to be as good a ride as the No Justice has been.
What's made it so fascinating?
Just the fact that they have taken all of these heroes and villains and put them together in teams that you would not imagine would work well together, and they actually do.
Okay.
And the dialogue is pitch perfect. The scenario, which it follows directly after Metal. There was repercussions from Metal, which is why this whole series is even there to begin with. And it ends each week on a cliffhanger, and so you just got to get the next issue to find out what happened. This is comics the way they used to be and the way they ought to be, and I applaud DC for this, and I was excited to read them. So yeah, I'm excited for Justice League, and hopefully it will not let me down.
Making comics great again.
Making comics great again. Huge. It's huge.
Oh God, what's occupying my time? Trying to think. I have a lot of different projects that I'm working on.
Bring it, son.
So I'm trying to get back into drawing.
I almost thought you said I'm trying to get back into drugs. What's old?
So, side note before he continues on, the logo for Dwight's comics was done by Chad. He did a fantastic job on it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
he's blushing. That's so cute. Like his head's getting red, like the top of his head.
That's the downside of being bald. I just, I turn red everywhere. But yeah, no, I'm trying to get
turning
back
into Dr. Phosphorus over here.
I'm trying to get back into drawing. Like I have a whole sketchbook kind of dedicated to horror stuff. Even at the old Stratford store, I would just sit there and just, do whatever. Trying to get back into that. Make music whenever I can.
Do you know?
Yeah. I try to make like synthwave stuff. So the 80s are very like heavy into my brain at all times. Yeah, so I try to do that when I can. I write.
He's a Renaissance man.
See, I try to take Kevin Smith's mentality on it, like just trying to keep yourself, in as many mediums as you possibly can.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I'm currently trying to chug along at a horror script that I'm writing called Pumpkin Party.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's about some teenagers that go to a Halloween party at their friend's grandparents' farm, and it turns out he's trying to sacrifice them to like some pagan pumpkin god.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Kind of cabin in the woodsy almost.
A little bit, yeah.
Nice.
I try to go as grindhouse as possible, or I don't know, I guess. Dwight's shaking his head.
I thought I knew him. I don't know what's going on right
Dwight's
now.
a little scared. Doesn't
Just
want
a
to
little
close
bit.
with you anymore.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, then just watching movies.
Well, what movies are you watching? What music are you listening to? I'm like, it's good to know what you're doing, but what are you consuming, sir? Our my listening base likes to hear about things so that they can also enjoy them as well. It's like this is like the show and tell portion of the show.
Oh, okay.
Once Pumpkin Party comes out, like I'll be more than glad to promote it for you. But right now, it's in concept phase.
What I've been listening to is I've been listening to a lot of My Brother and Me.
Okay, what kind of stuff is that?
It's a podcast actually.
Okay.
They take questions from Yahoo Answers.
Okay.
And try to answer them, but they always get like the weirdest ones.
I think I've heard of this podcast before, actually.
It's insanely funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been listening to that, and then I just watched this movie called Terrifier.
Okay.
It's this. It's an indie horror movie. I feel like I'm just talking about horror here.
He's so dark.
It's so dark. It's so dark.
Darkness. No parents.
But yeah, no, I was watching that. It was phenomenal.
Have you seen Veronica on Netflix?
Veronica. I had it suggested to me. I haven't
Apparently,
watched it yet.
like from what I've been reading, it's one of these horror movies that's so scary people shut it off and can't finish watching it.
See, I've heard mixed things about it. 'Cause I've heard that, and then I've heard people being like, it's all right.
Yeah.
But then, like...
The people that are like, it's all right, but they've got bodies in the trunk, so it's... So yeah, that's Tuesday for me. I don't know.
Because, like, I've heard the same thing about, like, the Babadook.
Yeah.
And I heard, oh my God, this movie is terrifying. I can't sleep. And I watched it, and I was like, it's all right. It's fine. I'm going to go buy it on Blu-ray, but,
Oh, my God. I thought I knew him.
But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm consuming. Just 80s and anything horror.
Right on.
Except for The Witches, which is on my list.
Yeah, you need to fucking read that, man. What's wrong with you?
Oh, also, I totally did remember my first comic book.
Yes.
All
right, ladies. We just went from fifth back into second. It grinded a little bit. We can smell the clutch.
Oh, God.
I've been stewing on it, and I was waiting. Okay, the Dark Horse Aliens line.
Okay.
That came out before Alien 3.
Excellent.
So, like, Hicks and Newton Ripley were all still, a happy group until, that movie happened.
Right on.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Sarah, would you like to share with the group?
Oh, mine's not as exciting. What I've been consuming, I'm excited because of the first the prelude to the wedding. The first one came out.
The wedding?
Batman and
Oh,
Catwoman.
yes.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And
It's really big deal. Really big deal.
fun fact, I worked in bridal for 10 months prior to working for Dwight's Comics, and
15 Schaumberg.
I am like in a weird mindset about it. I was like, oh my gosh, like her dress is fabulous. And I'm like,
I love that whole issue where she breaks into the bridal shop and steals her dress. It was fantastic.
I mean, she's marrying a billionaire, but she's got to go steal a dress. That's
I mean, that's how she does.
That's what she does.
That's what she does. I mean, I look at it completely differently now, which is weird. I don't like it so much. I'm like, why do I have to think about that? Like, what's her bridesmaids going to wear? I wonder how long it took to ship her dress.
Who are her bridesmaids going to be?
It's a very good question.
Maybe it'll be that little girl from Batman Year One. Selena.
But what else? Oh, Lucifer. If you haven't seen the show on Facts, Lucifer, nothing like the comic. I know a lot of people hate on it.
Kind of like iZombie is nothing like the comic.
No, and I think it's a great play. What? Were you gonna say something?
No. I've heard Lucifer is excellent. Like, I have a friend of mine who was my English teacher in college who doesn't know comics from a Pop-Tart and loved Lucifer. And I hear it's done. Or they might be moving to a different network, maybe?
So it got
hopefully.
Canceled, and the CW picked it up.
Oh, nice.
Thank God, because I had a mental breakdown. I was like, why? It was like my one show I'm caught up on. Like, Bruce goes to bed. I'm catching up. I need to watch this kind of scenario. It's the only thing I'm caught up on. But it's fabulous. Like, don't go into it if you've read the comics thinking it's going to be the comics.
Okay.
Because it's completely different.
They're like, there's a guy named Lucifer, and that's about it.
That's about it, yes.
Well,
It's kind of like Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I mean...
Which was another one that got canceled way too soon.
It's true. But it's like the whole premise of his own line is he's the devil, he's vacationing in L.A. That's the same premise as the show, but it's completely different.
Because it's like a procedural, right? It's like
yeah,
it's interesting. It's a great concept for a show.
They bring in so much, and it's... They brought in Kane in the third season, and it blew my mind.
Like the professional wrestler?
No, like Kane from Kane and Abel.
Ah, okay.
And they work together to try to kill off Kane.
Interesting. See, there was a movie that came out called He Never Died, and it's starring Henry Rollins, and he plays Kane. It's excellent. It's a good movie. And like it was just one of those where he's like, yeah, I'm hundreds of thousands of years old. It was pretty decent. Sorry, detract.
You're good. And other than that, I've been consuming How to Train Your Dragons and Paw Patrol.
Fucking Paw Patrol. My son is obsessed. Like, we've got probably 30 hours on the DVR right now.
I don't know how many times they can save Adventure Bay before it gets old.
At least I got somebody I can talk to about this. Now, who funds these people? He's a 10-year-old boy.
With dogs. Like, they can't do anything in this, like, little space. And you're like, what would you do if they weren't there? Like, the mayor can't clean her, golden chicken properly?
Yeah. And like, what is up with, like, how come the pups are the only animals that can talk?
I don't understand either. And whenever you introduce another pup or something, they don't really talk unless it's connected with the Paw Patrol pups.
Yeah.
It's like
they're the only anthropomorphic dogs in the entire animals in the entire thing.
I don't understand. Or the cats.
Yeah.
Evil cats, and then there's like okay cats. And
yeah.
Like, no.
Well, no, Callie is the good cat, and then there are the what is the Mayor Humdinger's cats?
Oh crap! The Key Catastrophe
the
Crew.
The Catastrophe Crew. Oh, they suck.
Oh.
And then why is everybody inept in that show? Like, seriously, everybody, like the mayor Mayor Goodway is just
incompetent
completely. And wait, they never really solve anything or fix anything. Like, it's like, oh, this mild nuisance is happening. Let's call the Paw Patrol. Like, the chicken got loose. Let's call the Paw Patrol. And then there's no repercussions to anything that goes on, even the bad stuff. Like Sid the Pirate. What the fuck is going on with Sid Swashbuckler? I want to kick him right in his...
But I like Arby, the little like dachshund dog.
Why did they name him after a really shitty restaurant?
I feel so bad, but it's so cute that he's like full on pirate pup though.
Yeah, but he just wants to be a good pup, and like
does.
Sid just has to steal fucking everything. Everything. He's the greediest little shit. And does he ever go to Paw Patrol jail? No, because there is not such a thing.
They just let him go.
Yeah, they're like, aha, you'd have a good time. Steal some other shit.
Did you see the season finale?
Yes.
I'm like, really? You have him in your like claws, and he's just gonna go find his boat?
Yeah.
And him and his dog are like, okay, we'll see you the next time.
Wait, and what the hell did they project the boat onto? Remember?
That's a very good
there
question.
Was like, was it fog, or like you have to have something for the shadow to hit for it to be able to see it?
It's very it's gotta have been fog. But where'd they get the fog?
Were they going to Foggy Bottom? I don't know.
No, because he was on
the bay.
Adventure Beach.
Yeah. I don't know.
It made no sense.
Makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. And Mayor Humdinger, I hate him. Like, he is like a 4-year-old in like
this
we are totally
life.
Seriously. Just be glad you don't have like. And then I realized, like, I was thinking about it the other day, like, is this how our parents felt about our cartoons when we were kids? They had to have. Because, like, I went back to watch He-Man because they put him up on Netflix, like, 6 years ago. I'm like, this is bullshit. Why did I watch this?
But, yeah, I still can't get over the fact she has a purse chicken. Like, she just picked up a chicken.
Yeah,
like,
that's my chicken. I keep her in a purse.
Yeah.
I love this chicken more than life itself.
She does. She had a whole day dedicated to the purse chicken.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Right? Like, does she eat the chicken? No.
No.
Does she choke the chicken? No.
Finally, a reference I understood.
And this has been your Paw Patrol moment with Reuben and Sarah. But yeah, seriously, we are a Paw Patrol. My son went to C2E2 as Marshall.
Your kid's a Marshall kid, too?
Marshall kid, totally.
Like, Zuma is the coolest.
Yeah.
The water pup.
Did you know that Zuma is actually named after Zuma Beach in California?
I know.
Yeah.
And now I want a chocolate lab named Zuma.
Right?
And Rocky's the hoarder. Like, those are two underrated pups.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm sorry, but Rubble is just way too cute.
I mean,
I'm a Rubble guy.
I know, and he like just eats and has sleep dreams.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best part.
And he just thinks all the other animals are so cute.
He does.
All right, everybody else has gone to sleep.
I have no idea what just happened, dude.
And this has been another Paw Patrol Minute.
I'm just wondering when I can talk about Doc McStuffins. because oh my god.
We are not a McStuffins household. We do not have the Disney Channel here.
Oh my god!
It's because, and that pisses me off because I can't watch Star Wars Rebels, and I can't watch, and I wasn't able to watch Gravity Falls when that came out. So, yeah.
Way to bring it down again.
Chad. God damn it, Chad. Yeah, this week for me, I've been just catching up on podcasts. A lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts because I drive a lot. Finally caught up on my CW shows. I think Supergirl's the only one that's got like 2 episodes left, I think, and then that will be done. It's been a good season so far. I've been enjoying it. I still have like half a season of Walking Dead, and I'm debating whether or not I should just delete it because I'm tired of that show. And apparently, I just found out that Andrew Lincoln is leaving the show. I'm like, how can you have The Walking Dead without Rick? How?
I seriously don't know. But finish the season, man. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, even with Glenn's wife.
Oh.
They basically just wrote her out of the show too, apparently, from what I've heard. Because she's now doing a show on NBC.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah, Lauren Conrad's doing, or is it Lauren Conrad?
Lauren Cohen?
Lauren Cohen, yeah. She's doing a show on NBC now, next season.
See, it's funny because they set her up in a big bad way, like at the end of the season, but not in any way I expected. I don't want to say spoilers, but
like I said, there's 13 episodes left on my DVR. Maybe.
Do you just want me to say it?
Sure, fuck it.
All right.
Dude, it's been off the air since last fall.
Yeah, that's true. So she wants revenge on Rick because Rick leaves Negan alive.
Okay. See, I didn't even know they caught Negan. I didn't.
Oh, God.
Because I know that they kind of somewhat followed the all-out war storyline, but not quite.
Yeah, I mean, it ends kind of the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he slits Negan's throat and saves him. But, yeah, no, and then Maggie wants revenge because she thinks that Glenn's killer should be killed.
As well he should.
Yeah. So she's like, you know what? Fuck Rick and fuck Negan. I'm going to kill both of them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how he goes out in the next season. Because I've heard
Very
that
well
like
could
she's
be.
got a very limited run in the next season as well. But yeah, it's another one of those where I just got tired of it. I'm like, ugh. Like the half of last season was way boring. You know, it's just there's nothing perpetuating it. At first it was like, you know, like in the comic book I could suspend the disbelief because there's so much like, okay, it's a comic book, but it's bonkers, you know?
Yeah.
But then you watch the TV show and it's like, I guess this is how it would actually happen. This is boring. It's not as bonkers as the book.
I feel like most of the season was just like setup.
Yeah. And where are the fucking skinwalkers? That's what I want to see.
See, that's what I'm thinking that they're going to bring in.
Or the
next
Whisperers.
season.
The
Yeah,
Whisperers.
I was thinking they're going to bring him in next season, but then someone that showed up in this past season makes me think that they're going to go with the newest storyline.
Oh, really? With the chick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
one that-
someone like her shows up.
Right. Like Dwight's been talking to her on the CB, which they haven't been doing at all. Not you, the
Not
guy.
me. Not me. No.
But yeah, but I'm debating whether I should just delete it or not. I don't know. But I just watched the last episode of Preacher yesterday, and that's been off the air since last year this time.
I still need to watch that show.
The first season was really good. Second season is okay. I like to see what they're going to do next season, though. Especially after the cliffhanger of what happened at the end of the second season. I'm like, that didn't happen in the fucking books. That's not even close to what happened in the books. What is going on?
Well, the books were a little out there, too.
Yeah. And that's one of those that should have gone to Showtime or HBO because they could have done it. Like, they're doing a good job with it on AMC, but they can't get away with what they could have gotten away with on Showtime. Well, even on FX, or Sci-Fi. Did any of you guys watch Happy?
I've been meaning to.
It was good. It was only 8 episodes, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was only like 8 episodes.
But it was excellent. It really followed the book pretty well.
And it was different. A lot of people didn't like it because they didn't understand it.
Well, because they weren't comic book people.
No.
But again, like they were on a network that allowed them to drop the F-bomb a lot. Like they've been doing that recently. I'm like, when did this start happening? Like, I can't remember what, like, I know Happy was doing it a lot, but what else was I watching where they were just dropping it left and right? And I'm like, whoa. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, cable networks are finally like, you pay for this, there's no law against it, fuck you. And we're going to say it loud and proud a lot. So,
what FX? Oh, Archer.
Archer, yeah. Oh God,
they get away with saying some of the most outrageous shit.
Yeah, this new season of Archer has been pretty damn good.
It has been hilarious.
It definitely makes up for last season because
Dreamland. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's funny on so many levels,
right? You're making up for Dreamland, sir.
Making up for Dreamland. Yeah.
But yeah, like Dreamland was okay, but like an Archer Noir, I'm like, Like it could have been so much better. Yeah. But it wasn't. But this season's totally making up for it.
It has been hilarious.
Pam and him like on the stake, like it's Obsidian Pam. Oh my God, you want to marry me? No, Pam.
Is that a boner?
Oh man, this season's been great.
Yes.
It's been absolutely fantastic. So, but yeah, that's one I've definitely been keeping up with as it happens because, usually my wife's in bed because she don't dig the shit that I watch. So, but I've been listening to doing that. I've been listening to new Kendrick Lamar. God damn, I listen to so much Kendrick Lamar. It's amazing. He's so good. That Black Panther soundtrack is incredible.
It is amazing.
It's excellent. But yeah, that's been about it. That and just catching up on all the books I purchased from your store. Dwight's Comics, 1415 Schaumberg Road, Schaumberg, Illinois. But yeah, but that's pretty much what I've been catching up with here lately. But yeah, and do you got anything that you'd like to promote?
This will be Comics at 1415 Schaumberg Road in Schaumberg, Illinois.
Now, do you guys have a website yet?
We do not. And bear with us, people. I hear you. We are going to get a website.
Squarespace.com/Nerdist.
Yes. I don't want to just put up a shitty site. When I put it up, I want it to be something that's like, okay, this is a good thing. And those take time and money, and I only have one of those.
Money.
Yes, I am rolling in it.
I know because I drop a lot of mine in your store, much to my wife's chagrin.
Oh gosh, but no, we are going to get a website. But we have every other social media platform available.
Where can they find you?
They can find us at Dwight's Comics on Facebook. We're on the Twitters, and we are also on Instagram. Am I forgetting one? Is there some other one that I don't know about, kid? Okay, because I don't understand this whole computer things. How do you make this stuff go? Get off my lawn. But yeah, so if there's a social media platform, we are out there. Dwight's Comics. Like us, love us, visit us.
Do you got a phone number where they can call in if they want to phone in an order?
Yeah. Yes, and I'm going to slowly talk now while everybody reaches in their pockets to get our phone number, because we do have a phone, and if you call it, we will answer it.
At 847-524-6060.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I'll make sure to put all your information in the show notes as well so folks can find you guys.
And we are really this much fun in person, too.
They are. It's a good time. So if you guys are in the Schaumberg, western suburbs of Chicago area, I do highly recommend stopping in and saying hi to Dwight.
Or if you are coming to Wizard World, we will be the ones in the black T-shirts that say Dwight's Comics.
All right, dude, you guys have a booth?
We will not have a booth. We're going to be wandering around aimlessly with drinks in our hands looking for back issues.
Dude, if you want to find a great place for back issues, Half Price Books.
Half Price Books is amazing. I've picked up a few things from there. Cindy shakes her head at that because
it's like fucking Half Price Books.
Half Price Books. We got so many things from Half Price Books. But yeah, we decided here that we're going to go as a team to Wizard World, and so yeah, we'll be the ones rocking out with the black T-shirts on, and I'll be the tall black guy. There'll be an angry white guy standing next to me, and some girl. So yes, that'll be us.
Hooper X and Silent Bob. Black Rage. Bitch, you almost made me laugh. What's a Nubian? Anyway, sorry. Enough Kevin Smith jokes. So so if you stop in, let them know that you heard them here on the old Pop Goulash. At least then we will know that their voices have been heard.
And thank you so much for having us.
Dude, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. You guys, anytime y'all want to stop back by, just let me know. The Hood Cave is always open to you guys. So
see, now that I know that, and I know you have liquor too, yeah, we'll be back.
Well, next time I'll make sure that Leo shows up too, so you can finally meet Leo that I've been talking about. He actually lives in Elgin as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? He's probably on my lawn.
Yeah, maybe.
He needs to get off my lawn.
Leo, goddammit. So, but yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. This has been a hoot, and gal. I don't want to be gender specific here, but yeah, if you guys ever are in the area, like I said, make sure you guys stop into Dwight's Comics. Drop down a $5 or $10, or buy out half of his stock. I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Well, Cindy would definitely appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So, but yeah, for Pop Goulash, you can actually find us at facebook.com/Pop Goulash. You can hit us up on Twitter at Pop Goulash, and make note, I have changed the handle of our Instagram. It is now Pop_Goulash_podcast. You'll no longer find me at Pop_Goulash_Reuben. Just change that last word to Goulash. For Pop Goulash this week, I'm Reuben.
I'm Dwight.
I'm Chad.
I'm Sarah.
And Chad almost lost a tooth.
My bad.
He really would have been an angry man.
Right, Sarah jacked him right in the mouth with the mic. Say your goddamn name. Say mine while you're at it.
Oh, God.
Oh, all right. So for Pop Goulash this week, I'll change it up this week. Excelsior. Thanks, guys.